Yo, good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? This is your coach, Renz, and in this video, I really need you guys to understand my ending taglines of you got to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Last night, I watched the movie Collateral. A couple days prior, I watched the movie Jumanji 2. There is one thing about both these movies that I want to get over to you guys. Whether you like the movie or not, it's here or there. Neither here nor there. It's about the messaging. There's only one thing in Jumanji that I want to bring over to this movie. And you notice the title says Collateral Beauty of a Kiss. Learn how to love unapologetically. The movie Collateral Beauty embarked upon an emotional journey. If you was truly open to the movie, get beyond what the critics have said. The emotional journey of the movie. Love, time, and death. Now, if you've watched my video, if you're part of my Patreon, because that's the only way you would watch it, and you saw my video on the divine paradox, then you will automatically understand that time, as described in the movie, as talked about in the movie, and time in itself, and death, as just talked about in the movie and described within itself, is a divine paradox. Meaning that time is an illusion, as he said in the movie, but yet time exists. That death is an illusion, but death exists. It is a divine paradox because no matter how you look at it, we can say that time doesn't exist, that man has created time with hours and months and years and that sort of thing. We can say that nature creates time with seasons and revolutions around the sun, and the moon revolves around the earth, and the sun around whatever it's going around. We can say that time is linear because we cannot travel to the past, nor can we travel to the future. So even though those of Mithraism had talked about how time is a river ever winding, and we could talk about how history repeats itself. But in this physical form that we exist in, time is real because time is linear, because today will never be here again. And one of the major points that they want to get across to you is about time is every moment. Every moment is your present. Your present is a gift. It's in the present. Death, we know that we are all energy. At its core, we're energy. Energy can neither be destroyed nor created. We know that the energy that we are will continue, that our consciousness will continue, that our consciousness has always been and it always will be. So we know that death is not a reality, but on this third dimensional matter, on the matter plane, the physical plane, death exists. The cessation of life of this body in this form will cease to exist, and we lose people. People go on to whatever the next emanation is, they move towards it. So although death doesn't exist, it exists. Although time doesn't exist, it exists because of our material plane that we exist on. I go much more deeper into that in the Divine Paradox video in my Patreon. But love is in everything. This is one of the statements that was said in the movie, that love is in everything. She is in your joy and she is in your pain. That she is in your happiness and she is in your sadness. That no matter what you have in life, love is in it. You may not always recognize it, but love is in it. Which brings me to a kiss. Love is in a kiss. Whether it's a good kiss or a bad kiss. Whether it is a kiss with someone who has blocks and walls, those who do not want to be penetrated because they have been hurt before. The beauty of the movie Jumanji is that when the young man and the young lady kissed for the first time, they had never kissed anyone else before. So their kiss was new. And if they are, as teenagers, develop their relationship, they will always kiss how they kiss. There will not be walls and blocks. They will have an ability, the opportunity to be completely open and be unapologetically in love with one another. But when you're 40, when you're 50, when you're 30, and you're getting into a relationship with someone, they've already been hurt. They've already went through a lot. They already have walls and blocks. In their kiss, it will demonstrate the walls and the blocks. But there is collateral beauty in it. The collateral beauty in their kiss is the fact that they have experienced these things. That we know how to love. That love is in everything. But the problem is, the challenge, I should say, is that can we be unapologetically free? To be able to love, to be able to kiss with no inhibitions. You see, death will come. Time will move. Will you waste the moments of time in fear of death, in fear of loss, in fear of pain, and miss out on the beauty, the collateral beauty of your love right now? That's one of the deeper messages of that movie, and I want you to really think about this. I oftentimes tell people that I'm not from here, that I can't be, that people do things to other people that I just don't understand. I am not perfect in any way whatsoever. But one thing that I do recognize about myself is that I have a huge level of consideration for other people. And sometimes it has been to my own detriment. But when I'm in relationship with other people, my thought process, whether it comes out the right way or not, my thought process is always, how can I make this person happy? At this, and I know most of you probably think that same thing. How can I make my mate happy? How can I make my spouse happy? But let me ask you this. There are plenty of things that I know that I don't like to do, that I may not want to say, that places I may not want to be, but I know it will make my lady happy for that moment. And so my thought process is just to do it. Let me give you an example from yesterday. So yesterday, it was a snowy day here in Atlanta. It's very cold. But I needed to come to my shop and finish an order. So we come to the store. She comes with me. She was off work. We come to the store. We finish the order. It's time to leave. It's about 4:30. It's cold outside. Now, the logical process, let me back up a little bit. My normal thing is to open her door, to open the door to the store, let her out, to open the door of the car, let her in. That is my normal thing. We call it chivalry. I will open her door at all times. I will fuss at her if she gets in the car or opens the door because she's been impatient. But it's cold. And most people will say, well, it's cold. You got to open your door to the store and lock your door to the store, and then she got to get in the car, but it's cold, so why should she wait? She shouldn't wait, right? And you're absolutely correct. So what did I do? I opened the door to the store. I walked her to the car, opened the door to the car, let her in the car, put her in the car, closed the door to the car. Then I come back up to the store, I lock the door to the store, then I go put my stuff in the car, and I get in the car, right? It is not so much that I took all the time and made sure she was taken care of first, but it's the thought process behind it. Most people would have just functioned without thinking, but I literally thought about, as we was walking, as we was getting ready to leave, I thought about 15 minutes prior, it's cold outside, let me go outside and crank the car up and warm it up so that she will be warm as soon as she gets in the car. I thought about, when we're leaving, let me walk her to the car, get her in the car out of the cold, and then I can come back up and lock the door. I know it's not the most efficient. The most efficient would be just to let her go, get in the car herself, I lock the door and we both get in the car. It's faster. But my mindset is, how can I make her more comfortable faster? How can I get her into a situation, into an environment where she recognizes that I'm thinking about her betterment in every aspect of it? I do that consistently in everything, right? No matter what's going on, that's what my mind is thinking. We're watching the movie. She has a blanket over her. I put her legs is on mine, and my thought is, let me tuck her feet under the blanket so that it'll be warmer. There was no need for me to do it. Now, my feet were cold a little bit. But my thought process is to, how do I make her moment better? How many of you think about that? How many of us think about making your moments better? Not, let me make a bunch of money so that you can be comfortable. Sure, that's great, make a bunch of money. But how can I make your moment better? Her birthday's coming up, his birthday's coming up, Christmas is coming up, this is coming up, anniversary, whatever. Today is just Thursday. How can I make your Thursday better? Make sure that you feel love on Thursday. We don't think about these things. When we kiss, how can I make this kiss more passionate? Let me ask you this. How many of you wake up in the morning, how many of you say good morning How many of you, after you brush your teeth, deeply kiss to say good morning? Or do you just, good morning? How many of you depart each other and you just, see you later? In that moment, you have an opportunity to say that the best thing of my morning right now is you. That we're departing, and I want to kiss you in a way that you know that I'm going to miss you, and my goal is for you to miss me, and that I can't wait for us to come back together. And when you do come back together, how many of you greet each other with the beauty of a kiss? But not that, but a real kiss. How many of you go to bed without saying goodnight? How many of you go to sleep without a deep, passionate kiss goodnight? You may say it doesn't take all that, but this is where I must be from another planet. Because if I ask you what's most important in your life, you may go through a list of work and food, finances, God, yourself, your kids. You may go through an entire list of all these things, and you may say your husband, your wife, your spouse, your romantic relationship. You may put that in your top 5, but yet it doesn't get the same amount of attention that your work does. It doesn't get the same amount of attention that your children do. It doesn't get the same amount of attention that your relationship with the Creator does. It gets this push back kind of attention, this I'll get to it later kind of attention. We procrastinate on our relationship more than anything else, but yet we claim it to be so important. We claim it to be so vital to our elation, to our happiness, to our joy. But yet, if I tell you that every morning you should deeply kiss your mate, every night you should deeply kiss your mate, every time you see each other and depart from each other, you should deeply kiss your mate. Some of you will say, well, that's too much. I'm not that kind of person. And maybe you're not. But what if you're with somebody who is? What if that person feels that, wants that, desires that? Are you telling me that you will deny them that? If you will, you should not be in that relationship, if it is too much of a struggle. But there was a question on Facebook the other day from a friend of mine. It said that which would you rather have? Which is more important in a relationship, love or passion? And my answer to that was that love without passion is meh, it's boring. It becomes complacent, it's content, it's settling. And that passion without love is fleeting. So therefore, I must have love and passion together. Otherwise, there is no purpose in it. You see, I must be from another planet, because I cannot settle for a passionless love or a passion without love. I can't settle for this is just who I am, so just love me. The thing about that kind of a statement is this. True, you should find somebody as close to a loving pattern that you're in. But there is always going to be that 10%, 20%, 30% that you two are unlike, that you are not like one another. And it is in that percentage where your work is to be done, where you have to get over yourself, where you have to say, forget what I feel, forget what I think, forget what I'm used to. What I must do is to take care of this relationship, is to build this relationship. You see, in the Hermetics, it talks about if something, that everything grows to a height, and then once it gets to a height, it begins to decline. The goal is to allow your relationship to never get that height, to always have a higher mountain to climb. That way your relationship never dies. I must be from another planet, because for me, it doesn't matter what when I'm with someone, when I'm with my lady, we are not identical. If she was exactly like me, then I wouldn't have to do nothing. But we're not identical. And since I know that I'm not identical to her, I have to recognize what it is that she needs in order for her to know that she is loved in every moment. What it is, whether I like doing it or not, that will make her feel that way. It doesn't matter what it is. Let me give you something that every guy can understand. And some of you women may know this, but you may not. You know how y'all like to lay in a spoon position and go to sleep? It's a great position. We love it. Don't get us wrong. But that shoulder underneath thing, after a few hours, this starts to hurt. Whichever shoulder it is. But that, we have to do the shoulder underneath and the hold, right? And we may tuck it. I tuck it underneath the pillow, and another pillow's under that one to get a little bit. But that, after a while, this hurts. This hurts. And it wakes us up sometimes. But guess what? We stick with it. If we know that that's what you love, that you get a certain feel of security and comfort in that feel, we'll stick, hurt like hell. Next morning we waking up, but we'll stick with it. We'll stick with it. I'll stick with it. Because I know that it gives what it gives to her, right? Regardless of my pain, regardless of the fact that it wakes me up at like 2, 3 in the morning and I have to adjust for a little bit, but then I get back here into it. It doesn't matter because it's providing for her. It doesn't matter if I like it or not. There are certain things that men ask their women to perform. Some of you say, no, not doing it. Is the relationship not worth it? Really? Trust me. There are plenty of things that he does that he don't like. There should be. And if he's not doing those things, then you might need to move on to the next person. Right? But at the end of the day, it's about doing what is necessary to make the other person feel loved. Because a person who is going through denial after denial after denial, a person who is left in wanting, will eventually get tired of being in wanting. Either they will settle or they will go and find what it is that they desire somewhere else. So male, female, man, woman, whoever you are, you have a choice. You have a choice. Either become the person that says that, hey, whatever you need to feel loved, that collateral beauty of a kiss, I'm going to give it to you. Or recognize and understand when it leaves you. When it leaves you. Because relative to how important it is to the person, they're only going to be able to tolerate it for so long before they give in. I've dated many women over these last 10 years of being divorced. And the biggest struggle dating in your 30s and 40s is people are already in a rhythm. As I said before, the rhythm of a kiss. They kiss a certain way. That's how they've been kissing. You want to change that rhythm. You know you need to change that rhythm. It's so difficult to change the rhythm because it's a habit that they've developed. We're going through the book Outwitting the Devil on my Patreon. And the thing about it, the main thing it talks about is the difference between a slacker and a non-slacker is the types of habits that they have, right? So a person who kisses with no passion, they are in a habit of kissing with no passion. A person who kisses with their walls up is in a habit of kissing with their walls up. A person who talks to you with their walls up, with keeping their heart in check, is a person who is in the habit of doing that. The most difficult thing is to break that habit, right? Now, the challenge is this, how they receive the breaking of the habit. The person who has the habit can either take it one of 3 ways. The way that you really don't want them to take it is to become defensive about it. To say that I can't do nothing right, I can't please you, that this is just me and I'm not changing. To take an offensive or defensive position where they are going to fight you, to be stubborn. I've dated so many women who, in the areas that I explain and express that this is vital to the development of the relationship and it has to become an open source, so to speak, then the stubbornness in it, the willing to fight in that space creates a void, a separation, creates an inability for a deeper connection in the relationship, and so the relationship dies. It could go that way. The other way it could go is a pacifying situation. Whereas you have the conversation, the person understands, they don't take a defensive or offensive approach to you, but yet they pacify you for a week, 2 weeks, couple months, but then reverts back into their habit because it wasn't something that they made a definite decision, had a definiteness of purpose towards changing. And so the relationship stays stagnant, and it goes, oh, we're going to have great, and then it goes back. Oh, then you have a conversation, oh, it goes back great, then it goes back. Then you have another argument, conversation, then it goes great, and it comes back. I call this the yo-yo effect, because that's what you're doing. You're responding only during the time frames of complaint. And then you go back because you have not decided that this is a habit you're going to break. This is in the same way that many people, they lose the 10 pounds, they gain the 10 pounds. They lose the 10 pounds, they gain the 10 pounds. They lose the 10 pounds, they gain the 10 pounds. They just keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, because they haven't made a definite decision that this is what they want to have. They haven't changed the environment of their life to say that this is what I must have. And that leads me to the next part, which is when the person sees this as the collateral beauty of a kiss and be able to say that, you know what? I do have walls. You know what? I have felt pain. I have been projecting my pain from my other previous relationship onto you and not allowing myself to truly feel your love and nor give you mine. So therefore, I do desire to work through this, but I just don't know how. And the simple answer is you must change your habits. In order to change your habit, you have to make two decisions, two very vital decisions. The first decision is to change the way you think about the entire situation. You don't see it as a pain, a stress. You don't see it as a struggle or something that is going to be so difficult for you to overcome. It can't be insurmountable. You have to already know that it is accomplishable and it has been accomplished. The second decision you have to make is to mentally, physically, and purposefully change your environment. Change the environment. If you wake up in the morning and right now your environment is not designed for you to have that beautiful kiss, that collateral beauty of a kiss, change the environment in order for it to be. If at night you don't get that, change the environment for it to be. If during the day when you part and depart, come together, whatever, change the environment so that it is. And there are many different things that you can do. If there's a favorite type music that puts you into the mood, change the environment, play the music, get yourself into that vibrational pattern that says, I'm going to deliver that. Send texts all day, send emails all day, have a little phone call. I was just calling just to let you know that I miss you, that I love you. And I hope that your day is going wonderful and I appreciate you and I love you. Send those phone calls, send those texts, communicate all day with that. At night, don't just put on your big thermals, big old t-shirt and your head all wrapped, everything. And don't just walk around in a wife beater t-shirt with some old raggedy looking shorts. You know, present yourself to your mate in a way that makes them look at you and say, man, I love this man, I love this woman. Put yourself in a position. If you're getting up, you're going to the kitchen. Do you need anything? Is there any way that I can serve you right now? Is there anything I can do to make you happy right now? Is there anything that you desire from the kitchen? Ask the question. How can I serve you, basically? Become the servant leader within the relationship. Always looking to serve the other person instead of being served yourself. Always look, how can I serve you? That will help to change the environment. All these things will change the environment. Once the environment is changed and the mental state has changed, the habit will change. And as the habit changes and you'll feel the joy, the collateral beauty of the kiss will continue to grow and grow and grow. And then you'll see where you can do it in other areas of your life. And the next thing you know, your life is ever growing. It's ever growing. That is the collateral beauty of the kiss. Change the kiss. Change how you relate to one another. Change your entire life with one another. I know I went a little bit longer than I wanted to. And maybe it's a little bit heavier than the movie was trying to get across. And I know it was about the grief and loss of a child, about learning how to love once again and live once again. But just in the collateral beauty of a kiss, you can learn how to live. You can learn how to have that life. You can get past the grief and pain of previous relationships that have put you in a situation where you fear death of the next relationship. You fear the timing of the next relationship, or whether or not you have time, or how long it's going to last. And you fear all these things of, can you love again and can you not? I mean, I'll tell you, I'm not immune to it. For a very long time, I feared that I could never love ever again. That I could never love at the deepest level. I'm going to put it more expressively, more detailed. I feared that I could never love the deepest level that I loved before. And I couldn't for a long time. I had to open myself to the collateral beauty of a kiss in order to be able to do it. You guys have to open yourself up. You have to love unapologetically. When you do that, yeah, some people may hurt you, but you can't let their inability to love you properly, to understand how to love you, to understand how to teach them how to love you, you can't let their inability cause you to live a life of complacency. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I'm sure it's going to help a lot of people. Please like, share, and comment on this video. Love you guys. Remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable.